What's up, everyone? This is Tony with JRNYcrypto. In this video, we're going to be doing an update on the cryptocurrency markets, talking about where the prices of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and altcoins are headed in the short to midterm, as well as a quick recap of everything big that has happened in the NFT and crypto space over the last week, and some other big news as well. Before we get started, I do appreciate if you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit the bell to be notified for regular crypto videos. Alright guys, so things aren't looking too bad in the crypto space. After we had that market correction over the past few days, Bitcoin is still holding above $45,000. A lot of people are stating they think we will have one more leg down, possibly testing a $38,000 Bitcoin before we continue in the uptrend and then continue back to previous Bitcoin all-time highs of around $64,000. So Ethereum holding up strong as well, around $3,300. ADA having a good recovery today, up 7%. At $2.60. We do have smart contracts launching very soon, so I will do another video on Cardano, what's going on with the blockchain, new partnerships, my price predictions for ADA and what I think is going to be happening here, my plans going forward. So look out for that in the next week. So besides that, we do have Polkadot up today as well, breaking $31, and we do have Avalanche AVAX on the rise again, also up 8.5%. So Avalanche has really had a huge run up. Pretty much any competing blockchain to Ethereum has had a huge run up in the past month or so. So as you guys can see with this, we did have a good pullback here with the entire market. Avalanche did drop to $35, now back to $55, which is I do believe that's getting close to previous all-time highs. Yeah, so the peak here where it did peak out beginning of February did break $55. So I'm looking into some crypto projects that are building on the Avalanche blockchain. I do think there's some good opportunity there with small cap altcoins using Avalanche, especially as Avalanche starts growing. I do think some of these will be exploding in value. So if I find some good ones, I will share them with you guys over the next couple weeks. But if you guys want to do your own research, I definitely recommend looking into that. If you guys know of any good projects building on Avalanche, feel free to comment below as well. So compared to other top Ethereum competitor blockchains, this has a $12 billion market cap, whereas Cardano, Solana, other top competitors, much higher market cap here. So I think Avalanche does have 3x potential from here to be competing with Polkadot and Solana. So definitely some potential there headed towards end of year, especially if Bitcoin and Ethereum continues in an uptrend. All right, guys, so quickly going over the Bitcoin chart, we are approaching a golden cross here where the 50-day does cross the 200-day moving average. That does tend to follow in huge upside for the price. And I do think this correction was healthy and expected. We've had so many green days since July 20th when the markets finally started recovering, hitting that spring in the accumulation. So the golden cross doesn't always play out accurately, but it does play out more so than the death cross. As you guys saw, we did have a death cross here around June 20th. That did follow with more downside here, but regardless, we did break upwards again. And this did end up following very closely to the Wyckoff accumulation schematic. So things are looking pretty good here. I wouldn't be surprised to see another leg down. And that major support is around $40,000 here, but I do believe a flash crash to $38,000 here is very possible. So after that, continuing in an uptrend as well towards end of year, where we do break previous Bitcoin all-time highs and break $100,000. I think that's very likely by end of year still. So of course, anything can happen, especially in the short term. We do have to keep in mind manipulation is still at play, but it is pretty crazy here how closely this Wyckoff accumulation schematic played out and the Wyckoff distribution schematic before that. Pretty textbook there. So even with manipulation and everything, that played out fairly accurately. Who knows, manipulation might have been taking advantage of that also. So things are looking good with Bitcoin and Ethereum in a general uptrend. The entire crypto space will be looking good. And generally, I don't really hold much Bitcoin. I do hold some for retirement. I hold more than one Bitcoin. I think that's a good standard to have at least one Bitcoin if it's possible. And if you can't afford that, 0.02 Bitcoin is what is recommended for every average person to be holding from what I've seen on the internet. So Ethereum, I do think will be breaking previous all-time highs before Bitcoin does, especially with all the Ethereum being burned. You guys can check that out live on etherchain.org/burn. We can see 276,000 Ethereum has been burned since the Ethereum London hard fork. And then we can see per minute here, 3 Ethereum being burned per minute, which turns into 10,000 USD value at the current price of Ethereum. Of course, as the price goes up, And as there's more activity, more Ethereum are being burned per hour, as we saw over the past couple days. When we did see that market crash, everyone was panic selling. At the same time, a lot of people were trying to pick up great deals, 20% off a lot of altcoins. We did have very high gas fees around that time, especially with NFT projects launching. That's causing a lot of traffic on the Ethereum blockchain. And we did have this over 10 Ethereum being burned per minute for a while. So while this much Ethereum being burned is bullish for ETH holders, the high gas fees are turning a lot of people and projects away from using the Ethereum blockchain, which is one of the reasons why competitors like Cardano, Solana, Polkadot, and Avalanche have been doing so well. If Ethereum gas fees were under $1 per transaction, I don't think any of these competing blockchains would be doing nearly as well. And we do have multiple phases of Ethereum 2 rolling out over the next year or so, but we have no idea when that's actually going to launch, how effective that's going to be at reducing gas fees. All right, guys, so jumping into the crypto news, quickly going over top stories for the last week. We have Ukraine passes legislation to recognize and regulate crypto. This was huge for the crypto space. This actually happened after the market dipped, though. So we do have a mix of good and bad news, but overall, there is some fear in the markets, and the general sentiment is we're going to see another leg down before continuing in an uptrend and breaking previous Bitcoin all-time highs. So I do think that countries will be adopting cryptocurrency more than fighting it going forward, and we're going to really start seeing the benefits of that with Ukraine doing this, as well as El Salvador finally passing Bitcoin as legal tender, and that going forward, we're already seeing some pretty crazy benefits out of that. So 101 Bored Ape NFTs auction closes at more than $24 million. This is massive. This is the biggest auction yet. So we do have Bored Apes selling for over $1 million now, the ones with rare features. So this is great for the NFT space as a whole. Something I am noticing right now, NFT volume is dying off, but I do think there will be another wave sometime mid to end September, like I have been saying. We do have another Bored Ape auction coming up at Christie's, and I do think that one will really get a lot of attention into the NFT space again. So personally, I'm still very bullish on the NFT space. I've actually had much better return on investment on the NFTs I've bought this year than I have on the small cap altcoins. I do think another huge altcoin rally is coming if we do break previous Bitcoin all-time highs by end of year, which I think is more likely to happen than not at this point. So I do have my focus on small cap altcoins with high potential by end of year, as well as good NFT sets, but there's so many crappy garbage NFT sets launching right now that we really have to be careful. People see all the money coming in. Basically, the money these projects are making on a mint, selling 10,000 NFTs at 0.08 Ethereum. They're making $2 to $3 million in basically an hour doing these mints, and then they can just move on to the next project. So be very careful of these NFT projects that don't have a doxed team and their entire team is anonymous, or they have other projects or just too much going on and a roadmap they can't deliver on. You do have to do your proper research at this point, which is why I'm just very focused on a few NFT sets. Basically, I get in contact with their team. I make sure they know what they're doing. They have good utility. They're going to keep building and bringing more attention to the NFT project, just like I would look for in a small cap altcoin project as well. So more massive news for the week. El Salvador purchasing their first 200 Bitcoin. They also bought Bitcoin when the market corrected below 43,000, another 150 Bitcoin. We also got some other good news out of this, like McDonald's in El Salvador accepting Bitcoin as payment. So lots of good news coming out of this, definitely helping their citizens. We also had a post here from CNBC stating El Salvador's new Bitcoin wallet allows for cross-border virtually instantaneous zero-fee transactions, a game changer for a country where 70% of the population depends on money sent home from abroad to get by. That is massive. Cross-border payments, as you guys know, they take a long time and they have huge fees, $20 to $50 or even more. So being able to do this for free and instantly being able to send crypto back home is huge for El Salvador citizens. So they're definitely going to see some huge benefits out of this. And I do think countries will quickly follow, and that's going to be very bullish for Bitcoin and the crypto space in general. So imagine we do get a couple more countries passing Bitcoin as legal tender, and we do get a couple more institutions acquiring $1 billion worth of Bitcoin or more. I definitely see this as a scenario where we do break a $100,000 Bitcoin. So whether this happens by end of 2021 or happens sometime in 2022, I do think it will happen by the end of 2022. And I do think the peak of this bull market will actually be at some point in 2022. And I do think going forward, these bull and bear cycles are going to be much different. We have so much mass adoption coming that I don't think things are going to repeat in history like before, because at that time, the crypto space was much smaller and the bull runs were really focused around each Bitcoin halving. And I don't think it will be like that anymore. Of course, going forward, the future Bitcoin halvings will have a positive effect on the Bitcoin price because it does make it more scarce. So while we're on the topic of countries making Bitcoin legal tender, we did have an article. YouGov poll finds 27% support for making Bitcoin legal tender in the US. That is massive, but I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon, if ever. But that does show huge support here. 27% support for that, definitely huge. That means other countries are probably very likely to make Bitcoin legal tender in the upcoming year as well. So that is huge for the adoption of Bitcoin. Bitcoin is becoming much more accessible as well. The more demand we get for it, of course, the more companies that will want to offer services for it. We have so many payment services getting on board with Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. So more than ever, Bitcoin is accessible and huge mass adoption picking up. I definitely see things continuing in a general uptrend towards end of year. So Bitcoin could go up significantly, says CIO of world's largest asset, BlackRock. That is huge as well. We're seeing a lot of articles like this where big names in these big companies are having a positive stance and opinion on Bitcoin and the crypto space. So that's definitely good, especially as all these big companies get on board with crypto. A lot of support coming to the crypto space in general. So here are the Bitcoin price levels to watch as $38,000 Bitcoin emerges as bull's line in the sand. I'm really hearing this $38,000 Bitcoin a lot. I do think if we do touch that, it would be very temporary. We will instantly recover back to 40,000 or more. Lots of support building, especially going forward and approaching this golden cross like we talked about. So this quote in the article does state, this is often seen as being a very bullish sign for the market and typically for Bitcoin. We see dumps into golden crosses and pumps into death crosses. So on this basis alone, the pullback wasn't too much of a surprise. But the following month or two, we should see a general uptrend, possibly breaking previous all-time highs here in October. So the article also states a $60,000 Bitcoin is coming in early Q4. We are anticipating the $60,000 level to be retested sometime early in Q4, which will likely provide another correction with a final push to previous all-time highs towards the end of the year, and then on to a $100,000 Bitcoin, I think is very possible and more likely than not. So things are looking good for the end of year, especially as adoption picks up and accessibility for Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. But I really think the peak of the bull run will be in 2022 at some point, and we will have some good corrections in the meantime. This will greatly depend on what's happening in the governments around the world as well. A lot of people are expecting the US government to start printing a lot more money. So more inflation possibly coming, more stimulus packages coming out would definitely cause more inflation, causing people to look for alternatives to store their savings, and cryptocurrency definitely being one of them. So things are looking pretty good here. The NFT space, I think, is looking good as well. Of course, the NFT volume is down, but we did really have a massive peak here beginning of September. So OpenSea's NFT volume down 50% after monumental surge in August. The huge surge with Bored Ape Yacht Club, so many NFT projects launching, so much hype in the space. So 50% down, we do have to keep that in mind. As volume drops for NFTs, so do the floor prices for these NFT sets as well, especially the ones that aren't going to be a name brand in the space and not survive in the long term. That's really what you want to be looking for, is the NFT projects that will survive very long term. So we have to keep in mind also that CryptoPunks were actually selling for just a few $100s in 2020, and even beginning of 2021, I believe they were pretty cheap also, and then they just exploded in price as the NFT surge in general picked up. So I do think some NFT sets that are pretty cheap now could surge a couple years down the line at some point. So this is the very beginning for the NFT space. I think a lot of great sets will be launching over the next year. We have crypto gaming projects launching that will use NFTs. A lot of new use case and utility coming to the NFT space. Just over the past couple days, I've seen a few new NFT sets launch and do a 10x in just the span of a few days. So I do want to give you guys a quick heads up. I am working on my own NFT set, and if you guys do want to get updates on that and be notified for the launch of that, follow me over on Twitter at JRNYcrypto, and be careful of scammers impersonating me and creating fake NFT sets. Make sure this information is coming from my official Twitter account or my official YouTube account here. So I will let you guys know more about that. I'm going to have some huge utility for that, something that hasn't been done in the NFT space yet. So last for today, we did have a CryptoPunk zombie sell for 2,000 Ethereum, which is $6.6 million USD at the current value of Ethereum. Huge sale here, and this is definitely great for the NFT space as a whole. The more big sales we see like this, the more attention that comes to the space and the more volume that picks up in general. Last time we did see Gary Vee buy a CryptoPunk. We did see a huge surge in volume around that time. So like I said, I do think another NFT wave is coming sometime mid to end September, possibly after the Bored Ape Christie's auction. They are selling some CryptoPunks as well. So I will keep you guys updated on my NFT set and NFT sets I'm invested in. In general, I do recommend following me on, over on Twitter for more regular updates and breaking news. Again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.